Hey everybody, welcome back to the LuckyDog Podcast. This is your host, Elias Roush. This podcast is sponsored by Elias Roush Media, Dadcam, Photo, Video, Digital Media Productions. So today we are discussing the final, the third, the last, the installation that we've been missing. Why am I talking like this? I don't know. I'm gonna stop. But so it's the final entry in the trilogy of the Matrix's movies that came out in 2003, and I wanted to cover the final movie because the fourth one is coming out very soon, and we've covered the previous two. Like I said, the first movie was ironically revolutionary. It was a step forward in cinema in so many different ways that I've already described in the previous reviews, that having this final one, the final movie, Revolutions, which is only it was released 6 months after the second movie. Uh, our hopes were high. You know, we wanted this movie franchise to end on a solid note. So, with saying that, The Matrix Revolutions is a 2003 American science fiction action film written and directed by the Wachowskis, the third installment of the film's franchise series, uh, released in the winter of 2003, November. It was simultaneously released in 108 territories in 2003 by Warner Brothers, while being the final entry in the original series of The Matrix. The storyline is continued in the Matrix online video game. It was the first live action feature film to be released in both regular and IMAX theaters at the same time. Despite receiving mixed reviews from the critics, the film grossed $427 million, with that being about 300 million less than the second movie, which the second movie was highly anticipated 6 months earlier and made around 700 million worldwide. So it can't exactly say that it surpassed the second one. So a fourth film is titled The Matrix Resurrections, began production February 2020 and is scheduled to be released December 22nd, 2021. So it is approximately the same budget of 110 to 150 million as the second movie was. This has pretty much the same production crew, same cast. There's only one or two recasts due to a death of, I believe it was Gloria Foster, the late great Gloria Foster. Um, and so, yeah, my hot take for this last one is that this first hour is almost borderline, can be completely wiped out. I feel like the first hour of this movie does not work in any way that would make an interesting, compelling story. I'll talk about it a little bit more in depth, but it feels very much like this was written in the same vein of like a television show. We have the early beginnings in the first Matrix, which are followed by a major battle at the end of the franchise. And that's very much what is happening here. And so we have another running time of 129 minutes. And yeah, I gotta say that this goes straight up prequel territory. And when I say that is, we had some great material in the beginnings of the Matrix. The first 99 Matrix, I've talked about how great it was, the look, the feel, the concepts, the cinematography, the blocking, all of that. The fact that we're using real people, not too much CGI, that all that great stuff, and the music as well. I feel like we detract from all of that for this third movie. Unfortunately, there is uh, a huge loss of not having the Fishborn, Carrie Ann Moss, and Keanu Reeves kind of all working together in the same plane, kind of thing. Uh, I do feel like we're missing all of the best elements that I personally enjoyed about the first movie. They're not present in this last movie at all. So with saying that, this last movie has I gave it a 6 out of 10. Given that I just feel like it could have been so much more, and they took the wrong pieces of the puzzle that I thought were that important of the film. I've heard that the Wachowskis say that the film lives on, and maybe I think it's comic books, animation, video games, whether it be any of those. There needs to be a solidified answer for me, uh, personally, at the end of this trilogy for it to be satisfying, because the majority of people seeing this are not going to go through the trouble of trying to figure out all of that. They're not going to go through podcasts. Probably weren't that popular at this point, so they're not going to go try to find a podcast. Uh, they're not going to go through the trouble of trying to figure out what more could this really mean. They just want a solidified answer, and I feel like with as crazy as this world gets, as bombastic as it gets, and the scale of it, it's really asking for us as an audience to want an answer at the end of this, and I feel like it's leaving too much of a cliffhanger for us, as viewers. So yeah, I mean, it being over 20 years since, what is it, almost 19 years or something like that, since the second and third movies. It's just, there's been so much time. It's, is this really going to suffice, having coming back this much later? We probably could have had an exploration of this world, or an expansion of this world through other movies or other television shows, but they chose not to do that, for whatever reason. I haven't really looked at that, but I guess they did do the animated stuff and whatnot. I haven't really looked into too much of the side stuff. Um, but yeah, that really could have been expanded, from this low concept, high level, very interesting Matrix concept in '99 to something so much more. But it feels like it kind of goes from what I talked about in the second movie's review, is it goes from this really intense, like, game changer of a movie to like a B in the second one, to like a B action, really intense, high thrust, high level franchise, high octane. And then the third one becomes kind of like this almost C level sci-fi franchise that doesn't even feel anywhere like what the first movie felt like. So I know that's going to be a lot to handle for some people who are like, no, you hate the Matrix and you hate me and you hate the, but no, I don't hate anybody. I don't hate the Matrix. I don't hate the franchise. I do think that this last movie is a fucking shit fire in many aspects of it, but I still enjoy all of the good things about it. I still enjoy the Carrie Ann Moss, the Keanu Reeves of it all. The Lawrence Fishburne, I feel like gets a little bit underutilized towards the end of this movie. And so, yeah, it's a big old 6 out of 10 for me. I want to love the fourth one, so I'm going in with really low expectations, hoping to love the fourth movie. So just know that when going into it. So yeah, here is the spoiler section for The Matrix Revolutions. And again, the entire review is available on patreon.com/LuckyDogPodcast. You can go to LuckyDogPodcast.com to check out other reviews, full length and short length, on the videos, on the SoundClouds, on the YouTubes, on the Twitches, on all the social media platforms that are relevant. And if they're still doing that in 3,000 years, then whatever the popular, it's probably going to be like one social media in like 3,000 years. I bet it's like everyone uses the one or something like that. Or they use the Neo social network is what it's going to be. I don't know. I'm just fucking around. So everyone, thank you for watching, listening, Lucky Dog Podcast. I got to say, this third movie, wow, it is big old heap of something that happened here. But what it makes mostly feels like to me is that they didn't have a fully realized ending for it, and something happened in the planning of this movie that really took it off the rails from having a solidified ending to say, wait a minute. So Yeah, I gave it 6 out of 10. Let's hop into the spoiler section for what the hell is this? Oh yeah, yeah, The Matrix Revolutions. Let me bring this down just a little bit down. Down. And again, if I got anything wrong in the explanations of or the plot synopsis, or if I'm forgetting anything, or if I'm not getting anything right, or if you got an opinion, whatever, comments section, let me know how I can improve. I know YouTube's all about that. They're like, but wait a minute. Push his glasses in and says, hold on. Okay, so let's jump into the plot of The Matrix Revolutions. Neo and Blaine lie unconscious in the medical bay of the ship Hammer. Inside the Matrix, Neo is trapped in a subway station named Mobile Ave. And I gotta say, right fucking here, they are stuck in this fucking. They have Neo, the most important one guy, stuck in the fucking subway station for like the first 45 minutes. I was like, really? This is how you're gonna do me on the third movie? Okay, I see how it is. Um, it's a transition zone between the Matrix and the machine world. It's very cool. It's very iconic. The iconography of being in a subway that's super clean and got green all around makes me feel like the Matrix. And there's so many other types of movies and shows. I'm actually watching Squid Game right now. There's a scene in the subway. It's like, how do you not feel like you're not in the subway after seeing this? Very cool, very iconic. Now get the fuck out of here. I don't need to be here for 45 minutes. So, uh, so he's in a transition zone between the Matrix and the machine world. He meets a family of programs, including a girl named Sadi. Sadi. The father tells, the quote unquote father, tells Neo the subway is controlled by the train man, a program loyal to the Meridian, or Merividian. I forgot how to say his name. I don't know. When Neo tries to board a train with the family, the train man hops on and refuses and overpowers him. This train man is like some homeless guy that ain't having shit. You ain't getting on with that ticket, Neo. Now get your ass. Because the architect said get, basically. So, Seraph contacts Morpheus and Trinity on behalf of the Oracle, who informs them of Neo's confinement. Seraph, Morpheus, and Trinity enter Club Hell. Always got to have a club scene in fucking Revolutions or Matrix Reloaded or the original one. There's got to be some scene where everybody in the club's in. I feel like the Wachowskis are just like really into the clubbing scene, so that's just, I can totally dig that. If I was directing a movie and I had $50 million, I'd be like, we need a club scene. So yeah, everybody's getting it in the club. Everybody's turning up and getting their drink on. So where they confront the Merovingian and force him to release Neo, which I was never fond of this guy in the original one, but I guess some people wanted him back. I guess I don't know. Troubled by visions of the Machine City, Neo visits the Oracle, who reveals that Smith intends to destroy both the Matrix and the real world. And I feel like I do like having the new Oracle. It is sad that we don't have the older one. But it does feel like it's just like, all right, what's the mission now? It almost feels like, what's happening now? What do we have to worry about now? And I'm not exactly sure if that's like it just feels like, all right, here's the exposition, here's the plan, here's the mission kind of thing. It's like, all right. Because I never felt like it was his job to always come back to the Oracle. I never felt like that was the job. I thought it was like, you're not the one, and she tells you what you need to know at the time, but you might actually be the one or something. I don't know. And again, comment in the comment section if this review's just complete shit, because I've gotten, trust me, I've gotten the ring of it. Everyone has something to say. Everybody's got a 2 cents. So he visits the Oracle, reveals that Smith intends to destroy the Matrix in the real world. She tells him that everything has a beginning. Sorry, she tells him that everything that has a beginning has an end, except for this movie, because it evidently did not end 100%, even to her. After Neo leaves, a large group of Smiths assimilate, Sadi and Seraph. The Oracle does not resist assimilation, and Smith gains her powers of precognition. She just like lets Smith so Smith is going in and like absorbing everybody he can with like this thing, and he's like morphing into him and stuff like that, like straight Morpheus style or something like that. I don't know what the hell Morpheus style. It's not Morpheus style, but morphing style. And so yeah, he's just like absorbing all the knowledge he can possibly get, all the knowledge. He's like ultimate power. So let me see what else we got. The in the real world, the crews of the Nebuchadnezzar, and I know I'm not saying that wrong, but I'm just saying it like that. And the Hammer find and reactivate Niobe's ship, the Logos. They interrogate Bane, who says that he has no recollection of the earlier massacre. As the captain plans there's defense of Zion, Neo requests a ship to travel to the Machine City, motivated by her encounter with the Oracle. Niobe offers him the Logos, and it's like, oh my gosh, he's taking the Logos. It's like that would probably mean something if these ships didn't all look the fucking same. It's like, all right, so I was looking at the outside of the ship, and I've talked about this in the first movie and the second. I don't talk about the second movie, but the iconography of the Matrix has like a minuscule hold versus like maybe something like Star Wars or even something of that of like Star Trek. When you see certain iconography of those movies, like the lightsaber or Han Solo's blaster, it's like it's very obvious what they are. The Millennium Falcon, it's like those ships have a look to them. These Logos, Hammer, the Nebuchadnezzar, all of them look like ass to me. I mean, I didn't think one of them was like, that looks cool and I want a model of that. I know that it's not like we want everything to look super cool, but I mean, come on, like they looked like junk. I know I'm being very harsh right now, but I'm just saying from a marketing standpoint, I couldn't tell the difference in any of them. So, which is probably why people aren't like, I want one of these ships. Maybe they'll make them look cooler in the fourth one. I don't know. So, Niobe offers him the Logos. Neo departs, accompanied by Trinity. And it's a big deal to have this Logos because they don't have many ships left. And they got the big squiddy things coming after Zion, and they got to fucking do the whole battle thing. So, Neo departs, accompanied by Trinity, which I feel like is the first problem of this last battle. It's like you do not want to have your main guy who's fighting all of the damn squiddies away from the battle. Why are you going to do that? So, Bane, who has stowed away on the Logos, the guy that Mr. Anderson has taken over his body, which I had no idea that happened at the end of the second one. If I had known that happened at the second one, I would have thought like, holy shit, this is next level. We wouldn't have, we can't even like plan for this. And I feel like this doesn't even become part of the plot until like middle of this third movie, which I'm like, this should have been the main thrust of the plot from like the beginning. If excuse me, if Mr. Anderson, or sorry, if Mr. Smith is trying to take over the bodies of people and like take over the ships and stuff like that, that's interesting shit. That's not exactly what it felt like was going on until like the last act of the movie. And so Bane, who has stowed away in the logos, takes Trinity hostage, and Neo's realizes that Bane has been assimilated by Smith. And he's not even being subtle about it. I mean, they're doing great interpretations of this actor acting like Hugo Weaving, and he's doing all of the dialect and talking like this. I guess I don't know. Kind of that was a bad one. I'll work on that. But the way that he knows is kind of like the way he's enunciating his words and saying Mr. Anderson, that type of thing. And I think he says he can't stand the smell of bodies and the world and stuff like that. He needs to destroy it, that type of thing. So Neo realizes that Bane has been assimilated by Smith in the fight ensues, like, and Bane burns Neo's eyes with a power cable. And he's like, "Die!" And you're like, holy shit. You're like, are you freaking kidding me, movie? The first hour of the movie, you're going to keep Neo, the one, stuck in a fucking subway station. And then the second hour, you're going to bring him in, or the second act, whatever you want to call it. The second act, you're going to blind him. I was like, son of a... I was like, this is exactly like Star Wars. I don't know. Not exactly like Star Wars, but, this disabling some of their main stuff is, very much in the realm of that world. So anyways, he burns out Neo's eyes and it's like, ah! And the makeup is kind of so, but I was still like, Jesus, from a story standpoint, this sucks. Neo discovers that he can still see machine code, source code in the real world, and uses this ability to kill Bane. And I feel like he's not all that sad that he's blinded at this point. I will say that some of the acting on this is just like, what is going on? And this is in between the defense of Zion battling these squid things. I gotta say, there is a battle of squid things versus the humans for 30 to 40 minutes with no Neo. I was like, are you kidding me, movie? There's so many misfires from this third movie that is happening. I was like, you're not going to have one of our main characters, or if the main character named the One, not in the main battle for 30 to 40 minutes. Big misfire. And we saw him in the second movie using the Force, or whatever the hell he was using, against this squiddy things. And he's not even in it, and he's blinded. And we're like, fuck! So I might even just give y'all the full review on this one, just because if I chop it up, y'all might not understand why I'm not feeling this third movie. I'm like, y'all seriously fucked up on so many levels. You need to have the main character in this. In my opinion, that's one of the big things is we're following a bunch of random characters in this battle, fighting these squid things and not doing that great. It's like this one guy who's acting like Mouse is like trying to like squeak up and refill the big battle things for this one guy to be like, blah, blah, blah. It's like, who are these people? And I feel like they're almost not even like listed in the synopsis at all. So I could go on about why this third one is just doesn't even make sense from that standpoint. So sorry, I just need to make sure I'm still recording. My camera doesn't. I'm not hooked up to my computer right now. So yeah, so that he can still see the source code. Neo doesn't really feel that sad about all of this, which I'm like, what the hell. But he does look cool when he's fighting, I guess, and doing whatever, and using the Force. I'm always going to call it the Force because it's basically the Force. Trinity pilots them to the Machine City. I gotta say, there's a severe underuse of Carrie Ann Moss. I mean, she does get some of the classic moves at the beginning of this. She gets the classic like fighting and stuff like that. I do think that there's nothing ever as iconic as the circling around crane scenes, like sheem, like running around the camera going around her, and then her getting a Judy kick. right to someone's face or something like that. It's like I don't feel like anything really hits that level. A lot of it is shooting of guns and dodging and doing some interesting stuff from here and there. But I don't remember from off the top of my head any just like whoa stuff. I don't remember any of the battles hit me with a whoa. After the second movie, I think the battles are not whoa to my knowledge. Um, it's just like oh my gosh. So Niobe and Morpheus rush towards Zion and the hammer to aid the humans' defenses. And again, third coolest person in this franchise, Morpheus, if he's not already the coolest, he's with Niobe and he's not even on the main battlefield. He's stuck co-captain with Niobe driving. I'm like, okay, this clearly they. What did he just sign that he didn't want to do any more fighting or something like that? Did he get hurt? Did I miss something? I might have to look that up actually. Um, but still, it felt like there was a severe underuse of Morpheus. With he needs to be the captain of this thing. For some reason, they all listen to Morpheus when he's talking about the one and all of this, but when they actually are going to war, they're listening to this other guy, Captain Muffini or whatever the hell. Niobe and Morpheus rush towards Zion and the hammer to aid the humans' defenses. Zion's shipyard is overwhelmed by a horde of sentinels, and the fatally wounded Captain Muffini instructs Kid to open. Is his name Kid? I think his name is Kid. The young guy that's like basically the mouse of this movie. He's like, wait, what? I don't know if I can do all that. Okay, so Captain Muffoon's the guy that was in like the Avatar looking things like blah, blah, blah. Those fucking machines look so stupid. I don't feel like that would do anything. Like they just have they're just shooting at these like squid things that are floating. It's like y'all don't have anything better than that. I know that it's supposed to be like apocalyptic future, but it just felt very copy paste in a way that they didn't have anything very interesting to put there. I don't know. Kind of felt like the ats or whatever the hell, and I think that's what is that what it's called? Whatever the things with the feet are in the third Star Wars. So, anyways, he instructs the kid to open the gate for the hammer, and the kid does. Don't you know? But he's also like super preemptive about other things earlier. He's like, the war's over. It's like, shut your ass up. When it arrives, it discharges its EMP, disabling all of the sentinels present, but all Zion's remaining defenses. The humans are forced to retreat and wait for the next attack, thinking it will be their last stand. And it's like, this really does not look good with all these sentinels coming after him, and it's like Jesus, this is rough, and it looks very hopeless at this point. The Logos is attacked by missiles outside the Machine City, causing it to crash, fatally wounding Trinity. This honestly was like so out of third base and almost choreographed at the same time that it felt like, all right, we need Neo to be alone, but also have like a moment with Trinity because they were like, all right, she's gotten him far enough. And they feel like they've fridged Trinity kind of for an unnecessary reason. And it's almost goofy how it happens. There's this big crash. They crash into the fucking. The Logos is attacked by the missiles outside of the Machine City, and this is when he used the Force. And then they fight. They crash in, fatally wounding Trinity. And this is part where Keanu is laying on top of Carrie Ann Moss. Like, clearly he's laying on top of her. And she's like, Neo, I don't think I'm going to make it anymore. This is as far I'm going to make it. And he's like, oh, Trinity, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And he's like, feels like her stomach a little bit. And he feels one. And then he feels another. And she's like, yeah, I'm not going to make this. And he feels another. There's maybe like 8 to 10 like pieces of hard metal sticking out of her stomach, all in 10 different places. Like there was no way anybody would even live from that. I don't even think you'd be talking after it. But she's got all of these things, and it's like because it's a close up shot of them at first, and you can't exactly tell she's dead, but something might be wrong. And then they do this wide shot, and she is just like poked in every organ possible. It's almost laughable. I was like, dog, and it was like, Neo, how are you still able to see, but you can't see all these fucking tubes that are coming out of like Carrie Ann Moss's stomach? I was like, this is goofy as fuck. And it's like, obviously he's not gonna pull all those out, so he's like, all right, well, I guess she's fucked. And there's this part where he's like, ah, ah. He's like, it feels like he looks at the camera for a second because the camera like lingers on like Keanu on Carrie Ann Moss for just a little bit too long. I'm just like, all right, well, that could have been better. So I was like, so they kill Carrie Ann Moss again. So to be clear, they killed Keanu in the first one. He came back with the power of love, and then the second one, he removed that bullet, and then she came back with the power of love. And then the third one, we kill Carrie Ann Moss again, and she does not come back with the power of love. And then we got to continue. So Neo enters the machine city and encounters the leadership of the machines in the form of the Deus Ex Machina, quote unquote. And it looks like a big baby head, in my opinion. I don't know what to say. Neo warns that Smith plans to conquer both the Matrix and the real world, and offers to stop Smith in exchange for peace with Zion. The Deus Ex Machina agrees, and the Sentinels stop attacking Zion. So it's kind of like, all right, so the way to do this is have a really intense battle with Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith and Mr. Anderson have to have one-on-one epic battle with plenty of stunts, CGI, and like tons of other Agent Smiths watching with really dramatic rain effects, and yeah, it's intense to the point where it's straight up Man of Steel all of a sudden, and it's straight up General Zod and Man of Steel getting straight boosh get a boosh straight to the dome, and it's pretty fucking intense. Basically he beats the shit out of Keanu for like the longest time, and then basically he has to say that's it, and then busts up what's his face, Mr. Smith, and that's that. And I gotta say, the biggest issue when it comes to these CGI battles, it just feels like they're just pounding each other, and there's no like, I don't know, it's like how long they can just beat the hell out of each other till the cows come home, till they're out of CGI. So I'm just like, there's not really like an ultimate ending of it like that. But yeah, I'm just like, all right, so I guess that's how you're gonna end it. You're just gonna end it like that, and it defeats the Smiths, and their eyes are doing all that shit and just doing some craziness, like imploding kind of shit. I don't know. I always thought that the ending battles with Mr. Smith were just kind of like, okay, I guess that happened. Because in the fact that he comes back, it's like, so is he ever really dead? It's like, I don't know. So anyways, I think he fucks him up for the one last time. The machines provide a connection for Neo to enter the Matrix, whose population has now been entirely assimilated by Smith. Sorry, I just basically described this whole thing, but I'm going to do it officially. The Smith and the Oracle's powers step forth, telling Neo that he has foreseen his victory against Neo. After a protracted fight, Neo appears to concede and allows himself to be assimilated. So this Mr. Smith does get all up in him. He's like, he gets his ass whooped. He gets Neo's ass whooped, and Neo gets a couple good slow mo's to the face, slow mo's to the cheeks, some hits, some stuff, and yeah, it was impressive, and ultimately Smith does assimilate into was it Neo's body, but outside the Matrix, the machines send a surge of energy into Neo's body, which it's like, how did this happen again? Just okay, just like he's getting the power because he has the metaphorical cross coming over his thing because he's supposed to be like the Jesus of the world, I guess. I don't know. The machine sends a surge of energy through Neo's body, and he's like, ah! My leg or my back, and which inside the Matrix causes Neo Smith clone and all the other Smiths clones to be destroyed. The Sentinels withdraw from Zion, and Morpheus and Niobe embrace, and Neo's lifeless body is carried away by the machines. It's like, goodbye, and he's just like, ugh, take me away. Take me away from this rough ending of a franchise that you could have been so good. And I'm like, did y'all really want to end it like that? Just his body goes to some random machines? Is that what the deal was? I guess. So thus, the Matrix is rebooted, and the architect meets the Oracle in a park. They agree that the piece will go and will last as long as it can, and that those humans who desire it will be offered the opportunity to leave the Matrix. They will get out of their tubes, the eggs, and they'll be like, blah, like Keanu was in the first movie. And the Oracle tells Sadi that she thinks that they will see Neo again, possibly in like 18 to 19 years, give or take however long it takes to release that fourth movie. And I can't believe they would even think about having this ending on there and not bring the movie franchise back like 15 years sooner. What the hell? Seraph asks the Oracle if she knew this would happen. She replies that she did not know, but she believed. And that, my friends, is the third entry of The Matrix Revolutions 2003, directed by the Wachowskis. Let me know how I can improve. Let me know what you think about the Matrix Revolutions trilogies. I have a spoiler talk with my buddy Hatham. We discussed all three movies. It's only a little 20-minute discussion. I actually recorded it before I had all these reviews. So that'll be available on Patreon as well. Might release a little bit of that on here as well, in a separate cast. So thank you for listening, watching Look It Up Podcast. Let me know what you thought about this movie. Let me know what you thought about the review. Let me know how we can improve. We've got all the social medias. We've got all of that good information on the podcast description below, or whatever podcast player you're listening to. Subscribing absolutely helps. I told everyone I would give them shout outs if you've given me a little love on the YouTubes. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. So stick around real quick if you have nowhere to go or just waiting to hop into the next video. I know this could probably be one of those ending things where it's like, you should click on one of the videos. I think it'll be on that side, or it might be on that side. I forgot. I'm looking at the screen backwards, so I can't remember. So anyways, yeah, this is the end of the review. Thank you for listening, watching Look It Up Podcast. Sorry, my computer's going a little bit extra slow. Should have had all the subscriber goodness already loaded up, but I don't have anywhere to go right now. I'm trying to export this second movie as well. Gotta say, the Matrix it's so interesting how they ended up. It's like I keep saying they could have been a larger franchise, but I try to think about the different types of. I think the only way you could have different stories within the Matrix is not have Neo and everything, because it's so hinged on him being the main character that having additional characters in it, maybe following like a Neo's son or Neo before Neo's father, who were Neo's parents or that type of thing. Were they part of the Matrix of some sort? That type of thing. Let me see if I can get the subscribers to show up real quick. Well, it shows subscribers, but I don't see where the names are. I found y'all. Quick shout out to Megan Desan, Kyle Brennan, Finley Gatso, and Environ for following, subscribing, and helping support the LuckyDog podcast. Couldn't do without you. Take it easy.